What's happening? Check me out. What's going on? What's happening, everybody? It's your Vape at 5. Builders chat today. I got with me
Check
the
me
man,
out.
the
Hold
legend.
on.
Check out who I got over here.
It's
Oh,
your
you can hear myself. What?
My bad. That was my fault.
I was like, damn, he sounds a lot like me.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No problem, Mike. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Yeah, doing good. We're just rushing around. I did a couple live streams today. I haven't had a chance to do some live streams in a minute, so it's definitely been fun getting back into it today.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I caught some of it today, a little bit of it. Looked like you were having fun.
Yeah, I was packing up the orders, and I did a little bit of coil wrapping this morning. Yeah.
How much? So just out of the gate. So anyway, so this is basically, Mike. I don't know if you watched before. This is the Vape at 5. I I feature builders every week.
Okay.
So we featured quite a few. Ramos, he's in the chat. N Divine 83, a couple guys like that. So I wanted to thank you, man, because for allowing me to feature you and coming on the show, dude. It really means a lot to me, a lot to the people watching. And I think you're just an excellent guy, man. So thank you so much for being here, dude. Really, really
happy you guys have me on here. I'm definitely excited.
We'll be and I told you before we went on, I'm like, look, I'm an idiot. So like if I start fucking up, just ignore me. Or if like the chat goes down, just ignore that.
No worries.
All right, man. So Mike, do you want to introduce yourself, tell everybody where you're from? What's going on?
My name's M.Terk. I am from New Jersey. Started building coils 3-4 years ago. It's 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
Pretty much as soon as I got into it, it was just something to pretty much occupy my mind. So it sucked me in pretty quickly. And then I started making a business out of it. And then I found that I was able to do something for work that I actually enjoyed doing. So it was definitely nice.
What made you, so when did you make the turn from, obviously, the majority of us.
I got into building pretty quick when I got into vaping. I didn't vape for like a long period of time before I got into building. Like when I got vape stuff, I pretty much got into building within a month or so after.
Who was the people that you started watching to kind of pick up some of the things to do with building?
As far as building goes, some of the first builders that I had come across on Instagram was one of the first ones was Blue Eyed Goon. Mm-hmm. He's actually the creator of the Alien concept, which is the coil that I mass produce and make repetitiously like I do. He was the creator of it, so his page was really cool. Like in the beginning, he was doing all this different kind of stuff with wire where like nobody else was doing any of that kind of stuff like that. He created a bunch of different concepts, and I just liked how he always tried different stuff. Like that's what kind of captured me with him, because that's kind of how I was in the beginning. I always wanted to try all different kinds of builds and stuff like that to pretty much see how they were going to perform or see what I was going to get a little bit different from one or another. Changing the gauges or changing what type of the wire is and all that. Like I always wanted to try something different. That was what kind of grabbed me with his page. He always seemed to try different stuff and always had cool stuff out there to take a look at. And I was new to Instagram in the first place, so it was like kind of blew my mind, all together, just being able to see all these different photos from people all over the place and seeing the type of stuff that I was seeing on Instagram.
And when Blue Eye Goon actually he first did that coil back in like 2004 would have been like 14.
Oh man, yeah, it was definitely before I even came onto the scene. He already had that coil developed, and it was originally made as a stovetop coil, and I believe with a single core on the inside.
Really 24 gauge, I think.
Yeah, well, no, it had a 24 gauge wrap wire on it. I think it might have had a 20 gauge or maybe something a little bit thinner than that in the center of it. But it was a single core, and it was wrapped like a stovetop coil, and it just looked so cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it definitely sucked me into it just from the aesthetics of it. And then once I realized the performance of it, as opposed to all that other different kind of stuff that I made, to me, it surpassed everything else. And that's why that's all I really make is the Alien coil. There's
something about making them. And I kind of wanted to ask you, like, the zone you get in when you're making them. Like, for me, like, it's something about the repetition of the way it lays. And I've always said this, like, the way it catches every time. Yes. There's something rewarding about that to me. That, like, I feel great every time I get it to lay.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's definitely neat the way that it wraps up. And it's crazy how you put those particular steps together and you come up with a wire like that. Like, it's always baffled me, like, what he was thinking when he decided to wrap a Clapton and pull the core out of it and then stretch those wraps out and then reverse his drill, put another wire in it and try to get those things to catch. Like, it just blows my mind still. Like, I still can't wrap my head around like what made you go through those steps to make that wire. But whatever it was definitely, to me, it's a winning concept.
It's yeah, I know, right? I mean, because it literally, like, if you think about anything that's influenced building more, there's nothing that's more than the Alien.
No,
Nothing.
I don't think so. I don't think so, because to me, it's a coil that could be mass produced faster than, to me, anything. I mean, maybe fuse claps and stuff like that, but it doesn't hold the same like age of it. Like, it doesn't last as long. Like when you make those typical kind of coils like that, I feel like with either the thicker cores, the less of cores, when you get to 3 cores like that and they're just sized correctly and the particular size batteries and what we're using, it just works perfect for it.
It does. And it also holds weight too, I think, as far as like, I think for builders, at least for me, like Alien's kind of like a landmark build. Like once you, like it's hard to get. The first time you get it is pretty like, I can remember getting it the first time and literally, I think I woke up everybody in my house, man.
Yeah.
Like it was like, I was in my basement. I'd been trying for like probably maybe 2 or 3 weeks to get the cores to stay flat and get it to lay. Yeah. And when I finally figured it out and felt the tension, and they talk about the feel, right? Like I finally got the feel. I was like, shit, man, this is, and yeah, I mean, like it's one of those builds, and when you get that build, it like for me, it drove me more into wanting to do it more. Like I was like, I felt like I really accomplished something.
It's very satisfying. It's extremely satisfying. The first time I did it was before I was on my way to work. I'm pretty sure Chloe was at school. Don't remember. It was like kind of like late morning. I used to kind of mosey to like the job site at like 11, 12 o'clock. Like I used to get the construction work like really late because I build coils in the morning time.
Yeah.
I was at the house and I kept messing up, and I finally got some really thick wrap wire to catch around, I think, a single core, and it was really rough looking, but I actually got a coil that I was able to see that was made, and I was able to get some wraps out of it. It was really satisfying. I know the feeling. 100%.
We went back. So yesterday we reviewed your work, and we went all the way back to 2015, and I found an Alien that you did. It was like June 2015.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about with all the cores in it.
Yeah, but it was 42 gauge. Yeah, so I was like, I don't know if that's his first Alien or what.
No, not at all. Not at all. My first one was really old. It was, I don't even know if my phone will let me scroll back because it takes so long to load.
It does, yeah.
If you scroll all the way back to the beginning of my page, like you'll see the first Alien it ever was, and it was really, really thick wrap wire. The legs were all kind of really twisted and janky looking, but it was there. I mean, it was there. It was my first one. I was definitely really excited. And then from there, it was just honing and perfecting and making it, cleaner and more efficient to work better in the, what we're using basically.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gotten to the point now. I mean, it's not only has it been like, and there's so many things about the Alien that's my favorite build, man. It is, and it always will be my favorite build. And it is because it's rewarding. Like I get like a feeling when I do it that I'm actually like, I don't know, it just feels good every time I do it. And not only is it's a great looking build, it looks fantastic when it's done well and tight, wrapped up right, set in an RDA, it looks great, but it's profitable. I mean, people want Aliens. Like that's like the number one coil people ask for.
There's a reason why they want them, though. They want them because they last long, and they want them because they wick, to me, way better than any other coil out there. Like, if you look back on Kent's YouTube, like, you'll see videos of him dripping juice on that coil, and you watch the juice literally suck and wrap around the loops of the coil just from the nature of the wrap. So, like, to me, I haven't seen another coil do that besides the Alien. So there's a reason why I feel like they hold up and they last that long for, because of that, because of what that wavy wrap does on the outside.
And there's people, it's funny because I've gotten in conversations with people that tell me there's no difference between, and I asked this question like of all the builders that come on here, and it's to me it's kind of funny. Like I kind of laugh, and let me explain this. Let me explain the conversation to you. So, I was talking to a guy, and he was saying, well, the coil that you use doesn't really matter, and he said as long as it's not round wire, if you fuse it with something, then it's the same thing. And I'm like, well, no, not really. And then in that same conversation, he asked me if I made Juggernaut coils, and I'm like, well, no, I don't make Juggernaut coils. They're awful. Yeah. So it just tells me like how much like knowledge he had about the whole thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's almost like
everybody's got their perspective of it. Sure. I mean, any coil typically with wrap wire on it is going to vape somewhat okay in the beginning. I mean, unless it's got like some really major spaces or cavities in the coil itself, because that always causes like real big popping and stuff like that. Just, they don't work correctly, but if you got something like a fuse Clapton or like a stagger fuse Clapton or something of that nature with some kind of wrap wire on the outside, it's going to work good for the beginning. It's just a matter of how long I feel like they last.
Yeah.
That's why I stuck with the Aliens, because I seen them. I worked in the shop for over a couple of years, and I watched people come in and they were using my fuse Claptons. and they were using my aliens, and they would come back within a couple of weeks, and they'd have to change a few claptons out because they would just wear out.
Really?
And
Wow. That's interesting.
Couple weeks, month. I mean, people would push them, but like just because I was using 40 gauge wrap wire on the outside of it, when you step your outside wrap wire down that much, like, yeah, it's great flavor in the beginning, but it does not last long at all because like every time it heats up and cools down, it makes the wire more and more brittle to the point where it just loses flavor altogether, and it just doesn't last as long as I feel like 36 gauge.
So you did. So you actually, yeah. See that. How long did you sell to? So I'm kind of asking about starting your own business and stuff like that. How long did you build for locally before you decided to kind of transition into, a national type distribution?
It slowly transitions. I mean, I don't know about in the beginning, I started working at the shop. I probably worked at the shop I'm so bad with timelines because like, it was a rough time when I was just coming out of working for my family and I went for working for the shop. So I want to say, I mean, if Chloe was in the chat, she would probably be able to better answer it, but maybe 6 months, maybe a few months, whatever it was. I worked at the shop for a little bit. I seen that the customers liked them. And then I slowly started, we put them on the website at the shop. The shop put them on their website, started selling them from there. And then I started traveling and doing the conventions basically with Local Vape. Local Vape picked them up. They already had a big distribution network that was already global at that point. So once they kind of picked them up, it kind of slowly let my brand spread. So, a little bit at a time. Like I never really forced anything with my brand. I've always kind of just let it go at its own pace in a sense. And I just kind of work real hard at it every day and hope that it goes in the right direction, basically.
In Local Vape, for those who don't know, that's owned by OC.
Yeah.
Is Local Vape. So another, giant and you've built with Homeboy, right? I saw a video of you guys building together.
Yeah, I flew out. When I flew out there, I think I did like a training of their shop employees, like training shop employees to install these kind of coils, maybe to make like fuse claptons and stuff like that. And while I was out there, we shot a video for, it was an alien stitch tutorial. Me and him sat and we did a tutorial together. That was the only tutorial I ever did with him. I think that was the only tutorial I ever did with anybody else, actually, was that one with Dwayne. It was a lot of fun, I remember. How'd
you get into doing tutorials and all that? Where were you at when you decided to go ahead and do that on YouTube?
Tutorials, once I started selling them, I figured I wanted to offer people both options. Because I understand like coils are expensive, and like if you have the time and the knowledge and the tools at your disposal to be able to do this stuff, like right. I figured why not make a video and show people how to do it for the people who don't have the money or doesn't want to spend the money on it and they want to put the time in. So I did the tutorials pretty much at the same time that I started selling coils. Which okay. I don't even remember the dates on that, honestly. I have to go back on my Instagram, really, to see when the stuff was launched.
I know. I'll tell you this, man. Your production on your videos was fantastic. Like, did you have some kind of background in camera, like in audio and video?
Some of the first ones I did were actually right in the front of the vape shop, right in the front window of the vape shop. Like, people would walk in, I would have all the camera stuff set up. There was, like, a backdrop on the wall that they got printed for me at VB Vapes and all that. I had a nice printed thing on my table. Like, these were some of the first videos I did. And then some of the later ones were just done in my basement. I just had everything all blacked out, black table. And so depending on which videos you're talking about, I mean, it changed over time. Like, as I got smarter with what I was shooting and doing, like, I learned and the videos got better, the quality got better and stuff as I went. Like, none of this stuff, like, I knew how to do any of this stuff before. Like, I had to pretty much learn all this stuff pretty much as I've gone. So you could slowly watch the progression of my page, my videos, and all my quality, and pretty much everything I did from the beginning on Instagram. Like, it's all documented.
Yeah, that's one cool thing about Instagram is you get that chronological, like, of everything of how it improves. And I think it's funny how coil building, like, it opens you up to so many different avenues of skill. You know what I mean? Either camera or production or video, audio, all that different stuff.
Yeah, Chloe's texting me the answers. I started selling within a few months at the shop. By spring 2016, you were selling your own coils. So spring of 2016 was when I started actually selling. They used to come in ring cases. They weren't even in these little coil packages like they are nowadays.
You had you had a really, really nice packaging. I remember. I look at your Instagram. It was like super nice.
I had them all lined up on the little workbench that I had at the shop. That was in the vape shop. I had them all lined up on the top. They were all like the little pair of coils. Like, both coils were just pushed into a little like plastic ring case, and they were sealed with like a little silver sticker with the spec on it, basically, and that was it.
Why'd you get rid of that, dude? They should have kept that. That's fantastic.
They were so bulky. When people started ordering large quantities, I could not ship that many boxes. It was like crazy. And the little circle packages that I use now, like, they were perfect for it. Like, they were perfect for it from the beginning. Like, I was able to put a 1-inch round sticker on it and then put them out like that. And I like the way they look anyway with the black tops.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, where'd you come up with your logo?
Chloe, actually. Chloe
Did
drew
she?
that for me. She 100% came up with it. She based it off of me always drawing my initials. Like, I used to always draw my initials, my M and my T. I
I
used to
see
always
that.
draw, yeah, I used to always draw a T basically through my M as a kid. Like, I never knew what the hell I was drawing it for. Like, I just thought it was cool
Yeah.
to have my initials like that. So she basically took that concept because she used to watch me draw it. Like, she's seen little drawings I kept from when I was a kid. And then she drew it for me in high school. And then we even found the drawings that she drew for me back then the other day. It was kind of cool. But then it kind of just like she evolved it into this. Like my background, like I have Norwegian in me. So she looked up these old Nordic runes. And it's like they're just like they're basically like symbols. Like it was how they basically did their writing, and they have different meanings like separately. But she had put two of them together, which kind of resemble my initials in a sense, like the M and a T. Plus, they had good meanings to them, and made she created what's called a bind rune out of it. Like if you look up a bind rune, you'll see like basically it's little runes, which are these symbols put together in a mannerism to make like a symbol like this that means something else.
That's bad. Yeah, it's badass. That's one thing.
Very smart, my girl. Very smart.
Yeah, I was good. Absolutely. Hi, Chloe, if you're watching. Chloe was, I think I was messaging. Well, I don't know if I was messaging her, but she was contacting, posting stuff yesterday for us. So thank you, Chloe. You're awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, man. So I started vaping in like probably June. I think June-ish of 2016 is when I quit smoking and went over vaping. And you're one of the first people that I found in building. Yeah. Absolutely, and so I like fanboyed out, man. I had your RDA. Yeah. I think I actually had, I think I have a shirt. I have all that. I should have wore it, but it probably doesn't fit anymore. I've put on a few pounds since 2016. Quitting smoking is really, really bad for gaining weight, even if you vape. Like I've gained so much weight, but anyway, yeah. So and I was gonna say, so 2016, you started going. I mean, your brand was out there. Yeah. I mean, I knew that. Yeah,
traveling helped me a lot for sure. I will say that. Traveling, which is what made all the connections for me. Like if I didn't travel and go to them shows and meet people from different companies from different countries and different states, like I would have never been able to branch out. I feel like as much as if I would have stayed just local.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's getting out there. It's huge. Doing the conventions is huge because you get to meet a lot of people that are influential in the industry.
Oh, absolutely, and that helps tremendously.
And especially knowing Twisted, knowing Kent and Homeboy. I mean, that is like you three together are huge. And Graham,
they've been super helpful since the beginning. Since the first time I DM'd them when I met them all the way up in Niagara Falls, and Kent even had me come around the booth at the local vape booth, and he was like, "Yeah, you can come around here and build, no problem." And then somebody that worked at local vape had kicked me out. They were like, "No, you can't come back here." So I ended up building out front. But like ever since the beginning, like when I first hit them guys up, like they've always answered my questions, which is why I've always answered all of my DMs and answered everybody else's questions because like they showed me that kindness in the beginning. So I feel like I should do the same onto others and
man, and that's one thing I swear like that the one that I say in my interactions with you is like he always message he does. I don't think it matters who it is. He'll always message you back, answers his DMs. He's not just like down to earth, and I think like that whole personality, like a lot of builders are like that, man. A lot of the guys who are really, really good are just they're not conceited about it, which is really great.
Nah, because I feel like a lot of us are just happy to be here. A lot of us are just happy to be able to do this every day, and especially once to do this as a career, it's amazing to be able to do something that started as a hobby or started as something to keep you out of trouble and turns into something like this, and you're able to keep doing it every day. It's truly amazing.
Absolutely, man. So, all right, so a little bit more about your building. I was watching, so I watched the two things. One, the micro Clapton that you did on the Fuse Claptons. 50 gauge.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, dude. And so I go back and watch your videos, man.
Yeah.
Told you I'm a fanboy. I got them all saved so I can look at. No, so I want to ask you, and then I got another question about the video you did with Twisted Messes, the slow alien, which was that video is so badass.
Oh yeah, when he came into the slow-mo footage. I still have some coils melting I never posted. We did melt shots. We did the slow alien, which was high speed. It was we were filming, high speed, but the camera slowed it down perfect. It was just awesome.
Dude, that video only has like 9,000 views, and it literally it is a travesty. That video should have hundreds of thousands of views. It is one of the coolest videos ever.
That's okay. Those 9,000 people were happy to see it.
Hell yeah. Well, I think I've watched it about 7,500 times. Yeah. So there's about 1,500 left. So on the micro alien now, I got a question for you. Did Twisted Messes start selling 50 gauge because you were buying it, or did he already have it?
I slowly asked him for thinner and thinner wire, and
I
I don't know if he
figured
had a
so.
lot of other people asking too, but I was just like, yeah, dude, we need 50 gauge because like I was trying to wrap. I was experimenting, you know what I mean? Like I started at thick gauges with Cantol, and then I got into nichrome, and then I just started going thinner and thinner and thinner because I was already at the thick gauges. So I just kept. I wanted to see what it all felt like, so I went all the way up to 55 gauge. Didn't vape very good, but it was really fast. It was super fast over 226 gauge anarchist cores. I put 55 gauge wrap. I still have the coil somewhere in a glass jar, but super fast. But it was hot, man. It was hot.
I'll bet. I'll see that. I know that it won't happen, but I'd be afraid.
The wire incinerating on it in a sense.
That's what I'd be afraid of. Is it would burn up. It's too thin to handle
anyway.
that.
It took me weeks to wrap it. I had to at least try it. So I hit it a couple times, and then I cleaned them up and jarred them up. That was it.
Yeah, so I watched it.
That's what I noticed. Like when you kept going thinner and thinner like that, like it was giving you really good flavor because of the heat that was coming out of it, but it would instantly wear out the thinner you go. So you find like the happy medium, and that's where I kind of stayed out with the gauges.
Yeah, I think for me it's 36. I love 36 gauge.
Works great. Works great. I just don't like it over 2 cores. I'm not a fan of it over fused clap. Fused claptons.
I'll go a little smaller for fused. Yeah, I don't use much 40 though. I use a lot of 38.
38's good. 38's decent. I have some 37 here, which was another custom order wire size that I had ordered a while ago when I was making the 4 cores. 37's a pretty cool gauge too.
Yeah.
I don't think he really advertises that much. I don't even know if he still sells it, but
he does. I just picked some up.
Does he? Yeah, that's a cool gauge. I like 37.
I do too. I'd rather use 37 and 36 over 38 and 40 anytime. And actually, I believe Kent's the only person who sells 37 that I know. I know Kidney Puncher doesn't. I don't think Coil Society does.
Nobody sold any of those gauges before Kent did. Like Kent sold 27 gauge, and then everybody else started picking it up. Like there was a lot of things that Kent added onto his wire line that everybody else started picking up to kind of compete with him as well.
Yeah,
but I've always stuck with his wire. I've always felt like it's the best blend. I've always had a great consistency with it, and I've been through hundreds of thousands of feet of it. Now that I've counted it up, it's over 300,000 feet of his wire I've been through, and
that's insane.
I haven't been through that much wire of anybody else's, so like there's a reason why I use his.
Okay, so kind of move into that. I'm a firm believer that you pay for quality pretty much with everything. You pay for quality with everything. You know what I mean? Except in rare cases. But the type of wire that you actually use, not only for me, it's easier to work with. And I think that's the biggest thing for me now is I feel like I'm in a place where I can just build, I don't mess up that much anymore. So I can use the expensive wire and it lasts longer.
I used to tell everybody that. Practice with the cheap stuff. Once you get yourself honed in, then switch over.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like for example, Twisted Messes Kidney Puncher is kind of the higher end type wire, but to me, it's worth it. And for whatever reason it is, it's much easier to work with than using some of the other ones.
Yeah, I like it, and it seems to hold up the best too. Because I used Kidney Puncher wire in the beginning for a little while when I was working in the shop days when the customers were using them, and I was keeping a real close eye on it. And then once I switched to his wire, it was just a night and day difference at that time and when I was building. So that's why I stuck with it.
So you have I wanted to ask you about your e-juice line.
Yeah.
How many flavors do you have now? I know you have the Turkish blend.
Yep.
And
I have Turkish maize and I have Turkish harvest. There's 3 flavors now. Now it's like somewhat of a complete line.
Did you put these together yourself, or who helped you with it?
Flavors, I basically called upon the flavor profile, and then I had a mixologist mix up different variations of it, and then I picked the variations and said, tweak this, add this, do that, and then we pretty much came up with the flavors. And it took me a little bit of time. I went out there, I spent some time at the lab with them. I think maize we did back and forth maybe through mail. The third time I went out there and just worked at the lab. And then, I might have some new ones too. I'm going to be coming up. Maybe
do you really?
Yeah, but I like to, I'm going to work on them now, so, nobody's going to see them for a little bit of time because I like to test all my shit at least for some months. Like, most of my juices were tested for almost 6 months apiece, before they actually got released. Because I wanted to see how they aged. I want to see how they did. on the cotton. I want to see pretty much everything about them before I release them. I'm not just trying to put something in a bottle.
It's a long process, man, and I think that's why people love your e-liquid so much, man. It's because it's quality stuff and it's fantastic.
It works. It works for what it is. It's all day vape stuff. That's all I vape. I've been vaping Harvest since I created it. Basically, I vaped it for the whole time. I was out of it for a little bit of time in the middle. I remember there was a couple times where like I went through my whole tester. I went through a couple more testers, and I had them send me 120s, and I vaped through all of them. And I was out of it for like I don't know, maybe a month before I actually dropped it. And then when the first batch of it came in, I was so happy to get a bottle back in my hand. And I've been vaping it every day since. Like I vape. I'll throw some blend, or I'll throw some Harvest, or I'll throw some maize over top of this, and like I'll vape it for a little bit. But I'll typically always go back to the Harvest, I guess. Now.
So what flavor is the Harvest? What flavor profile?
Harvest is like an apple and butterscotch flavor.
Nice.
Rather than like a corn butterscotch, which is the maize, and then the vanilla butterscotch is the blend.
Dude, let me tell you, there's not many butterscotch vapes, and I love butterscotch, man.
No, that's why I'm creating an army of them, because that's all I vape. It's all I vape almost since the beginning. Like I vaped a couple other dessert flavors in the beginning, but it's always been something like around that kind of caramel or butterscotch flavor like that.
Yeah,
preferably more butterscotch, but
there's not a whole lot of them. I know that for sure because I'm like the guy who goes to Dairy Queen and gets butterscotch dip or whatever at Dairy Queen. I'm like the only guy. Like it's like they have to find it because it's like nobody gets it.
Nobody uses it, yeah.
Right.
Butterscotch is like it reminds everybody of their grandmother's house and like
man, those candies that were like laying in the dish in the middle, in the middle
honestly,
of the table.
That's probably where I picked up the taste for it from. You know, I stayed with my great grandmother for a little time as a kid, and she always had them butterscotch candies, and I used to eat them. So maybe that's where probably where I got the tooth for it from, you know what I mean? I got the vaping, I was like, I can get nicotine in butterscotch?
Right?
Score.
There you go.
All I need.
Do you still vape nicotine or are you down to 0?
Nah, I vape 6 milligram. I fluctuated. I did the same thing. I experimented with all the nicotines. I've even dripped 25 milligram salt nic just to see what it's going to feel like in my lungs, you know what I mean? I got to try it all. So I did it all. I started at 12 milligram. I went down to 6 really briefly, and then I went to a 3. I vaped 3 for a while. I went down to 1.5. I did 0 for a little tiny bit, and then when I stopped taking my medication that I was on for the opiate dependency, I jacked my milligram right back up, and I've been on 6 since. I haven't even thought to come down off of it.
Yeah, dude. I'm at 3 right now, and I was just talking to somebody last night. Like, I think I'm gonna go back to 6. Like, I can't get the nicotine in it. Do you use salt nicks? Do you use pods and salt nicks and all that?
I've been working on salt flavors for my flavors basically for a minute. I would like to use pods. I don't particularly like other juice. So when I can get my juice going in the pods, I'll probably use them a little bit more so. The salt nick devices that I like though, like the only ones that I particularly like are the Stigs because they're small, they're disposable. I can fit them literally anywhere and move around with them. Like if I have to run around a lot.
Like you like the blues?
Like the little Stigs from VGod. Like you know the little
yeah.
Those little short-looking little disposable pods.
Yeah.
I know it's disposable and everything, but I don't really use them often. So, like, if I use them once in a while, and they're just super convenient. I like them.
I've turned into like a salt. I think the salt nick has like want me to push my nicotine back up because you get such like that. It's such a familiar feeling from the salt nick compared to a cigarette, man. And it's like.
I did salt nick for a minute, and I got the whole real crazy like draw to that, and I was stuck on salt nick for a minute. I was using the fixes and the jewel pods and stuff like when they first kind of came around, and I was using them often. I just got to the point where I was like, you know what, I just want to hit a mod again, and I started using the mods again, and 6 milligram in it is perfect. And the other reason why I vape 6 as opposed to 3 is I go through way less juice, and like. Juice is expensive, so like, I don't want to go through a bottle every 2 days. Like typically people go through a 60 mil in like 2 days, a 3 milligram, but a 6 milligram bottle of 60 mil lasts me almost a week. And I vape a decent amount. I feel like I vape often. I don't vape any salt nick stuff anymore, but I just cracked the 120 and I'm barely touched it.
Yeah, It definitely helps with like I don't know why I feel like I vape a lot, but I don't know if I just like dry my cotton. I don't really go through that much juice. I don't know what it is. Even with 3 nick, I just don't find it as satisfying. Like I don't like with the salt nick, I get that like immediate like hit, and I don't know if I would with it's quite frankly dripping 6 is kind of hard, man. I used to drip 6. and it's
You get
kind of
used to
hard.
it real quick. It's tough in the beginning, but you get used to it real quick. And honestly, when I hit 3 milligram or 0 for that matter, or anything other than 6, like the flavor's not there for me because I don't have that lung feeling as well. You know what I mean? For me, it's a lung feeling. I like that heavy hit to the lung.
What's your daily carry?
Right now, I've been switching it up often. Actually, I have 3 of them in front of me. I got this monitor right here. I'll show you. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. This monitor sucks. This one I got from England.
Is that an SQ?
Yes.
That's the SQ. Yeah, I saw that on their website. That's a badass mod. Is that 21700?
It's drippy too. Hang on, let me wipe this on my leg or something. It's drippy on the top. Yeah, it's this is the 21700.
Nice.
This is the big one.
Nice.
I love the way these dudes make mods. I don't particularly care for spunk bottles as much anymore, but I like the way they do mods, and they put mods together really nice. And you put that. Jesus, this thing's juicy. You put that 21700 in here, and it lasts for almost 2 days with me.
Really? What build do you put on that single 2700?
Regular .11s, 27s. I run them on everything.
Nice.
I put 5 wrap 2.5 triple 27s in there, and they're .11. They're perfect for it. It runs for 2 days. I get good hits out of it. By the time the second day, it's a little bit smoked. What else I got? I got the Outlaw. I just cleaned this thing up.
That's a badass mod. I love AMP.
This is 2700. This is the middle-sized battery now, if you'd call it. Nobody really uses 26-650s anymore, not that I know of at least. And then I got
not many.
I got my Sub-Ohm Innovation. It's a little bit nicked up on the button. You can see there. I dropped this one once. I was very upset.
It's a nice mod.
You ever see these tubes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Sub-Ohm
see...
Innovation. Yeah, oh, yeah.
I just took this one out. I cleaned it all up the other day, and it's fresh. My little brother came by. He finally got set up with a tube mod. I set him all up. I was teaching him how to put the coils in. He, fully grasped it, as I was explaining shit to him. I guess because he's my blood. He's my brother, so, when I explain stuff to him, he understands what I'm saying.
Right.
But fully, instantly grasped everything I was saying. It was awesome. I was like, yeah, this can't touch any of this. He's like, yeah, because it's going to short out. I took the whole deck apart. I'm like, these are the insulators. He's like, yeah, I see. That shit can't touch. It'll blow up. I'm like, okay, cool, dude. You understand it. So, I set them all up. I gave him a Brigmod V3 with I think I put RDAs on the top or something like that. I put some builds in it for him. He watched me install the coils and all that. He's watching me pulsing. He's understand what I'm doing, everything. I got them all set up. So I was digging through boxes, finding old stuff, looking for batteries for him because he didn't have any batteries, he didn't have a charger. So I was finding all my 18650. So I charged them all up. I gave him 6 charge batteries. I gave him juice, everything he needed to go. He left here. Hopefully he quit. Hopefully he quit this time.
So he's trying to quit. He's actually trying to quit smoking?
I have 2 brothers that still smoke cigarettes out of 3. I got 3 brothers. 2 of them are older. One of them's younger. My younger one was the one that came here and got set up the other day. My oldest brother, I had given him stuff in the past. He was dripping. He was using 6 milligram in tanks. I got to get him here. He's got to watch the coils going because he'll get sucked into it just by. I'll make him build it. I'll just say, dude, you got to put them coils in. He'll just build it up.
I think building for me was one of the ways that kept me vaping. I really do. Because I still miss cigarettes, man. I smoked for almost 25 years, dude, and I still miss them.
Yeah, it's a huge part of it that I feel a lot of these pod systems, when people quit smoking, jump into the pod systems, they're super convenient. They're a better transition device. I don't argue any of that, but it misses the hobby aspect of it that occupies your mind. Yeah. That's the thing that they kind of lack that I like the fact with drippers and stuff like that, and especially for people who are in recovery, I feel it's even more so special for because it really occupies your mind in a time where you need it, and it helps you quit smoking at the same time, makes you feel better, so it just kind of really sucks you in a very quick manner, which is why I love building.
And it's something just to kind of touch on the recovery thing. So you did the Drop the Shame show with us. Gosh, it's almost a year ago, Mike. That's a long time ago. It's crazy.
I'm coming up on my 5-year mark.
Dude, congratulations, man.
February. I don't remember the exact day. I think it's in the 20th, something like that.
Yeah, I remember your last year's post.
Yeah.
So the aspect, so I've asked this question to a lot of people. I think we asked you this on Drop the Shame, but it was there's something about building that it somehow gets into, I don't know, it's the same sensor in my brain that it fills that, it fills that addiction need for me. And I don't know what the hell it is, but it does. And I mean, there's a lot of guys and girls in recovery that are in this community, and there's a lot of builders that are in this community that are in recovery.
Mm-hmm. I think they all kind of flock to it because, like I said, it was something that's very, very stimulating to our minds in a time of very desperate need. We're looking for something to get sucked into Because at the end of the day, we have an addiction. We're addicted to something. It doesn't need to be something bad. It can be something good. That's kind of what I did with building. Like I turned my addiction into like wanting to go out and drive and go out and get something every day that I should not be doing. And rather than doing that, focusing on something that I can produce coils and make all these people happy from all over the place. And that's also what's kind of kept me sucked into. Like there was no blueprint for this. Like I didn't start this like, okay, I got a business plan. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. It's all just kind of developed around me as I went along with it. And it's all been through the course of my recovery, basically over these past 5 years since I quit.
Yeah. I mean, I think there is satisfaction in doing something for somebody, you're going to give somebody a really good vape. And like people that I build for, like I build for a few people, and I know, like I'm curious what they think of it. Like, how do you like it? Is it good? Do you like it? And they're like, yeah, man, it's really great. I love it. Da, da, da. But there's a satisfaction for that. Like I know I'm building this. Like I build it. Like I always say, I build with love. Like it's made with love. Because truthfully, like I want them to like actually like it, and like you get a satisfaction. It feels good to help other people out, man.
That's another huge reason why I read my DMs, because I get all the compliments back through that, and that's what keeps me into it. Like that's the main reason why I want to read my DMs. Like these people are complimenting me from across the world, from places that I've never even been to, and they've happened to get my product through channels, whether through distribution or whatever, and they're taking the time out of their day to send me a thank you, basically, for providing something for them that actually changed their experience, or had got their parents to quit, or had got their friend to quit, or had got somebody to quit. And just to have people take the time out of the day to write that stuff, like I feel an urge to read it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I have to read that kind of stuff because it makes me feel better at the end of the day that I'm making a difference in all these people's lives, at the same time as it's helping me through a time in my life where I don't really know what's coming next. You know what I mean? I've been taking every day as it comes.
Sure. I mean, just for me, I mean, you inspired me to start building. I mean, that absolutely.
I've heard it's countless people tell me the same thing, and that's what I mean. Like, if I can help make your life better, or make your day better by getting you involved and into something that's going to help better your life, like why not do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it's kind of funny. I don't know if maybe we just, or not we, but you just don't realize like how much you influence people's lives. And I'm especially during, whether you're in like recovery or not, you're still trying to quit smoking to do this. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's a really powerful thing when you sit down and think about it, that you're helping save people's lives, that, by them watching you and learning how to do something may add years to their life. Yeah. Like how many people can actually say that? You know what I mean? That's an awesome feeling, dude.
That's why I share everything about my past, because I want people to understand, like, you can come from a position like that and you can completely change everything around just by putting focus into something else other than doing something harmful. And I tell people all the time, like, I used to look at addiction like it was a curse and it was like something against me, but at the end of the day, it's really a blessing. Like, it's an extra motor that we have inside of us that constantly drives, constantly goes. You just got to set it in motion to do something good. And that's it. Like, there's no stopping it at that point, basically.
I mean, to be like a good addict, you have to be very like organized for the most part. Like, people think addicts are like stupid, and no, you have to be very to be a good addict, to like be as good of an alcoholic as I was.
Yeah,
like you had to be pretty crafty. You know what I mean? And like, so to have like an outlet, like for me, I do the YouTube stuff and I build a little bit, but like to have that outlet and something to like communicate with people and like in a positive way, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's fucking fantastic, dude. It really,
I never had anything like this my whole life, so that's why to me it's all been new since the beginning, and I can't imagine anything else other than this now.
Yeah,
it's just really amazing.
So where do you see yourself now? I know you kind of mentioned that you don't. Yeah, I mean, do you have like is there something you see in 5 years?
Oh man, who knows? I just want to keep putting out products that I really truly stand behind. That's why I plaster my logo on everything I put out. And despite what people told me in the beginning, not to put my name and my branding on my juice company and all that, like I really truly stand behind my juice and I stand behind my coils and all the products I put out. I have an RDA that's going to be coming out hopefully sometime.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be coming out really soon. I just don't know right now with the whole Chinese New Year thing. It's just a little bit nervous ordering stuff, and God forbid it comes wrong for some reason. I've spent so much time working on this. Like, I just don't want to take a chance of not being able to replace or get parts or fix any of it for an entire month while it's shut down. So it's like, do I make people wait another month until after the Chinese New Year so that I can order a lower quantity to better quality control and make sure that it's right, or do I just put it out now because people have been waiting for an entire year? So like that's the dilemma I've been kind of faced with for the last week or so now, because I'd have to put the order in soon in order to get it, and I've been going back and forth with it. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. It could come out in a month, or it could come out in a few weeks.
It feels like China's they have a lot of New Year's. I don't know what their calendar looks like.
They have one New Year, but it's just really big, and it's just like it's this time, it's springtime coming up.
Is it? Yeah, it seems like they're always on New Year, Mike. I don't know what I like to see their calendar, and I like to adopt that calendar because it sounds sounds fantastic.
The reason for it, from what I'm told, is that the reason why they have such a long New Year is because a lot of these guys, they actually migrate across their country, which China is very big, huge. And they go to these certain particular areas like Shenzhen or wherever the most of these factories are, and they stay there for the entire year, and they leave their families behind. So basically, when this Chinese New Year comes up, from what I'm told, I've never been there, I don't really know it myself, but they all go home to their families for that month, and they see their families for a month, and then they basically come back to work for a whole other year again. So it kind of made me appreciate it a little bit more. Like, okay, if they're going to work every single day all year and then just take, a little bit of time off, a month off out of the year and go home and see their family, I guess they deserve that. But it's just a little bit tricky with manufacturing, and we're trying to get stuff, and it needs to be 100% right. So
your first RDA, I really liked your RDA, man. I really, really did, and I like the clamp system. I like that it was big enough that you could fit bigger coils in both sides. I like that it was two separate clamps. I like how the airflow came right in on the coils perfectly, but the airflow was loose, but not real loose.
Yep, very airy.
Yeah, I really liked your RDA, and I like the tailpipe style. And a lot of time, like, I'll take my drip tip off and just pull right from because I have like big ass lips.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that tail.
I miss it myself. The new one, it's not going to have that on the new one. You can still use the old tip in it, but you're not going to be able to get new ones like that. I did away with that, and I kind of would have liked to have had that included. Like, that would have been cool, because I did like that. I went to a regular tip. I had so many people ask me for a regular tip, and I feel like the majority kind of outweighed it. They're going to get a regular tip instead of just
I think we're in the minority, dude. I think we're in the minority, but I like that. Now, one thing about
However, I might get some of those made and have them as like an afterthought or like a hookup or a bonus or something like that, because I do like that style tip. So I might have some of them made anyway and have them on the website.
Absolutely, man. That's all. So like your first RDA was all American made.
Yeah.
Made by AMP. Your second RDA. Now the one thing I want to say about it, and I think a lot of people have been talking about this, and I firmly agree. Quality from China is getting a lot better, man. And I'm not taking anything away from American-made products.
Yeah,
don't think,
absolutely.
But it seems like the quality of RDAs we're getting from China are really, really going up.
Yes, for sure. It's definitely getting a lot better, as long as, from what I'm told, as long as you specify that you want everything to be made the exact same way that you want it to be made. Otherwise, they may cut corners a little bit and use different kinds of metals and stuff like that, and it could make the quality go down. So, like, from what I'm told, as long as you specify everything, you should be pretty good. And I have Kent helping me work on this, and he's basically drew everything up on 3D design and sent it over to them. We've had prototypes come back and forth now, so basically it should be okay, as long as it comes how this last round of prototypes came to me. It's good to go.
Okay, wait a minute. Addy Tooney wants me to ask you something. You've got a request. I keep saying my name pop up. Addy says, hold on. Now, this is where I have to use my phone. I told you about my computer. It's awful. So I have to use my phone to recheck, because it'll shut my computer down. It says, if you still have time, please ask Mike who is better around the house with a cordless drill, him or Chloe?
Chloe's pretty good with a cordless drill. She did build some garden boxes that I'm pretty sure he remembers watching her make. She's good with the drill. She's good with anything, really. She's so adaptable to anything that you throw at her. Like, she could do graphic design, she could do ultrasound, she could do health coaching, she could do anything you want her to do, basically. And she's very adaptable. So I don't know. I use a drill. I put more hours in with it, so I definitely have more control with it, I feel. But she's adaptable, so I'd say maybe 60-40 split me.
She sounds awesome, man. She sounds like an awesome person.
She truly is. She helped me out of my whole past, especially, and she's been around since I was 16 years old.
Wow, man. Congratulations. That's awesome. Yeah. So you grew up in Jersey born and bred?
I've always been here until I started doing the conventions. I never traveled, never went anywhere, never did vacations, anything like that. Conventions was a way for me to branch out and see different people. from different areas and see how they live and see how they act and see how the landscapes are. Like, it was truly amazing those first couple of years when I got into all this and I started being able to travel around to all these different places, and especially going overseas to England. I'm hoping to go to Germany this year. I would really like to go to the Indonesia show. I know I'm definitely going back to London, possibly Liverpool. I want to line up a whole bunch of conventions for this springtime and try to go to as many as I possibly can.
That's awesome, man.
That's all what kind of gave my start anyway, and I feel like I should get back to it for 2019 and see how it goes.
Okay, so living in Jersey, I have a question. I lived in Jersey for about 12 years.
Okay.
And who are worse drivers, New Yorkers or Pennsylvanians?
I don't see as many people from PA.
So you're up north. That's where I was. I was up north too.
I'm central. I'm right near Asbury Park. Do you remember Asbury Park?
Oh, yeah, dude. Sure. Right on.
I'm in Belmar, so I'm only a few towns down from Asbury Park.
I was near Orange. If you remember Orange, like in Essex County.
I know where Orange is. Yep, 100% know where that's at. Yeah, that's a whole different area. That's what I mean. Like, Jersey's kind of cool like that. Like, you can go, 45 minutes south, or you can go 45 minutes north, or you can go out west, or you can go northwest. You'll be in completely different landscapes and areas, and it's all in this little small confined state, packed with a ton of people. I mean, that's the only part that kind of sucks about it. There's just so many people here. You remember it being up in Orange, up in that area. It's even more packed than where I'm at.
Dude, it's like, it literally, like, I try to explain to people what New Jersey's like, because I think everybody, like, thinks of New Jersey, and they think of either two cities, Camden or Newark. And it's like, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. Like, New Jersey is really, really nice. It's a really nice state. Like, there's a lot of money in Jersey. But it's the only place you can't turn left. Can you turn left where you're at or no?
No, you got to make jug handles everywhere.
Yeah.
Only in my neighborhoods you can make left turns because they're like stop signs or whatever. But yeah, everywhere on the highways it's all jug handles. We call them. You got to make 3 rights to make a left.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's fantastic. But I love everybody.
That and the circles we have here. There's not a whole lot of circles I see in other parts of the country. I've seen them a whole bunch of them in England. They're really small circles they have there. But we have a lot of circles. They always mess people up.
Yeah. The turnaround. Well, I figure they're called like turnabouts or something like that.
Turnabouts, they're called in England, yeah.
Yeah.
We just call them circles here.
Yeah, I used to commute into the city. Where I was from. So I used to take the trains. Like, I'd loved living out there, man. It like, the people out there, I swear to God, like, I'm originally from Ohio.
Okay.
So I lived in Ohio and I've lived in Denver. And then I moved out and lived in Jersey. And I've never met better people in my life. And the food in New Jersey, like, everything about New Jersey I just liked. Only thing I didn't like is literally if you had to go 5 miles away, it was like an event.
Yeah.
It took forever. It took like a half hour, 45 minutes to get there.
That's what I tell everybody. Like, I just moved 15 minutes north of where we used to live just to get back into the area where all of our food is. And people are like, why are you moving to be 15 minutes closer? Like, that's like right around the corner. I'm like, nah, you don't understand. 15 minutes in Jersey is a whole different it's a whole different place. Like, you can't. So you got to be close to wherever you need to get, because driving's a pain in the ass.
It is, man.
This time of year, it's nice. Nobody's around. I can cruise right up and down the beach when I go home between the office and the house. It's awesome. There's nobody here. It's 35 miles an hour, and there's nobody up there. You can just cruise. It's like a little highway, basically.
Yeah.
Summertime, whole different story. As soon as Memorial Day to Labor Day, it's like packed.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're down the shore, so it's like, yeah. Asbury Park.
It's all party town where I'm at. It's all like, you get all the guys come down from New York. You'll get like 7, 8, 10, sometimes 20 or 30 guys will all pack into the same little rental property for like the summer, because the rental people charge like 20, 30 grand for like the 3 months, that the summer's going on. So they all just kind of split it. And like, they just have beer pong on out in everybody's front yard. They're playing beer pong like down the whole street, like down a couple party blocks that are involved.
It's almost like a college environment. Like that area.
Like that, but it's more so just all the people from New York having fun for their summer. They come down on the weekends. Typically, most of them leave during the week. The kids that are out from school, like, they'll all be at the beaches, and like some of the people that come down from up north. But the weekends get really busy throughout the summertime for sure. It's going to be crazy.
That's the thing. Like, the Jersey Shore show was all New Yorkers. Like, there were no New Jersey people in that at all.
Like one or two.
Yeah.
And they were from the west and up north. They weren't even from the beach.
And it's funny because, like, I mean, I tell people, like, back in Ohio, you're from Jersey, and of course they think like you cross the state line from Pennsylvania into Jersey, and it's like skyscrapers everywhere. And you're like, no, dude, it's like literally, and it's like you said, it's like 4 different states.
Yeah, you go down south, it's all forest, it's all pine lands.
Yeah.
We used to go down there with the trucks.
It's beautiful, man.
beautiful down there. Absolutely. It's all untouched. It's all preserved land basically down there. And then you go out northwest and you get into the mountains and all the open fields and stuff like that out by Ringo's and Flemington.
Yeah.
Going north, you get into like the cities. I mean, you can get into some really rough cities and stuff like that. I mean, we have some pretty nice cities up there too. Like Hoboken's pretty sweet, pretty cool.
Yeah. Hoboken's great. It's just parking is I almost lived there.
Sucks. You don't take a car there. You got to get a ride. You got to take an Uber.
I almost lived in Hoboken, but we had 2 vehicles. And we couldn't find a place that had a garage for 2, so we couldn't live there. But I'd love living. Hoboken is fantastic. This is back when I drank too, Mike. So I would have
it's all bars. It's like a bar town. It's all like how Belmar is basically, where I'm at. It's all bars where I'm at.
And it's like the great thing about Hoboken is literally you got the PATH train, which you could just jump on and be right in the city in literally like 22 minutes.
Yeah. Chloe had family that lived up in Hoboken. We went up there and visited. And he was in a real high-rise building. They had a parking garage down below and everything like that, but it was gorgeous overlooking that city. Like I never really spent much time there until that one time. It was definitely cool.
Yeah.
Cool city.
Yeah, it's a cool area. All right, man. We are winding down. I'm gonna see if there's any other questions for us. We shot through that hour, man.
Yeah,
holy cow! Let me.
I warmed up today on my Instagram just to make sure I wasn't going to be rusty on a live stream. I did a couple live streams today, and I'm ready by the time I got here.
Dude, I'll tell you, man. Mike, I'm so thankful you came on, dude. I mean, it's a huge thrill for me to have you on here. And,
appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, so this show basically, like, I feature a builder every week, and and try to get like the word out and. For people, and people really respond to it. They really like what we do. And, a lot of people just haven't been exposed to it. You know what I mean?
I've gotten a lot of love on my Instagram in the last couple of days. People posting up all my old photos and my old coil build, stuff like that. So it's definitely cool what you got going on here.
Thanks, man. Yeah, you'll get, the guy, I mean, it's like, it literally, like, this show's turned out to be really cool, man. And it's like, we have the same people every day, Mike. Like, I get like 70 or so people every day, same crowd, and it's just like a bunch of really, really great people. And every builder that we have on, they repost their pictures and like, get involved, and it's been really great to be involved with it, man. And I'm just so happy, I appreciative of you coming on here and doing this, man. So thank you very much. Absolutely. So anyway, we're about out of time. I don't see any questions in here. If I did, I probably missed some. So I apologize. And people are going to be like, dude, you had M.Terk on and you didn't ask him like the question. I'll be like, yeah, I forgot about that.
Inspired me to make my e-juices. I saw that one question. Butterscotch. I was into a butterscotch flavor before I ever made juice, and then I just pretty much modeled all my juices around that particular flavor. I don't know what really gave me the taste for it. We were talking a little bit about it before, maybe with my great-grandmother. She used to have them in her house, the little butterscotch candies. Maybe it was that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got to stock up, man. I'm going to have to get on. I have got to stock up immediately. I'll probably be getting on your website right after the show to get me some.
Well, if you're getting 120s, I got half off on 120s because I just got them back in stock today. It's Turkish 120 is the code.
Turkish 120. All right, we'll keep that. So that goes out to the chat too, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to go over there and check it out. Yeah, and that is mterk.com. What's your website?
mterk.net. .com. Somebody bought. Who would buy mterk.com and they weren't even using it? I think somebody was trying to mess with me when I made my website, but mterk.net is what it is.
I wonder if somebody did, man.
Never found out. I never contacted them. I was like, fuck them. I'll just get net. No worries.
That's crazy. All right, brother. Well, hey, dude, it's great to have you on, Mike. That is your Vape at 5 for today. Thank you, everybody, for showing up today. I really appreciate it. Hope everybody has a fantastic night tomorrow on the Vape at 5. Oh, I need to tell everybody. Now, if you want to win a set of M.Terk coils and 2 30 mils of Adore ELiquid, put a comment in the comment section of this episode. Put in a number between 1 and 150 and tell her, say how cool I was or something. I don't know. Say something like leave a comment. And that will happen tomorrow. I'll pull a number and we will give that away. So, awesome. All right, man. Thanks, Mike.
No problem, dude. Anytime.
All right. Thank you.